My name is Nick. I am a sophomore accounting major here at Santa Clara University. Originally from Los Angeles. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. And I've been playing sports my entire life. I played varsity basketball and varsity volleyball. And I did track a little bit too. My mom came from Korea when she was 11. And she came to America because of the opportunity. My dad's third generation here. So I guess you take the average and I'm like second generation, but they always instilled hard work ethic ever since I was little. Like, whether it's just like doing chores at such a young age, like taking out the trash, doing the dishes, folding your bed. When it came down to homework, I wasn't allowed to like listen to music or like take breaks. I had to sit down and finish everything. Be smart and try hard. My parents always told me that if I tried my best, they would be happy with what the outcome was. And they always told me that hard work was, the best thing to have, because you can't really, I guess you can't really teach it after a certain point. But I don't know, I think leadership in a sport is different from like an academic setting. But I guess the values of hard work and setting the example can cross over. We played against which was Caucasian, or Monrovia Blair, which was African American. Like you go to their, you play the away game and you play in their stadium, and all of the fans are like, oh, like these little Asian kids like trying to play ball, but we would beat them and stuff like that. So you definitely face those stereotypes. If I was, we did a lot of boxing one, so I was always the person on their best player, and they would just like trash talk and say like, oh, some small Asian kids trying to guard me, like give me the ball.
I was born in San Jose, California, and I moved to Austin, Texas when I was like 1 or 2, and lived there for like 8 years until 3rd grade. And I have 2 younger siblings who were born there. And then we moved back here to the Bay Area in 4th grade, went through middle school, high school here, and now I am at Cornell University studying architecture. I think hard work and like keeping, I guess, priorities straight is kind of like the big thing. I was like kind of interested in the arts like just growing up, and wanted to do interior design at one point, but then he suggested like, oh, you like art, designing things, and architecture is like it integrates a lot more besides design, because you have to consider a lot of things. Your buildings can't fall down, and so he suggested that I look into it, and then it just seemed like a pretty good fit.
My freshman year at Santa Clara, thinking that I was going to transfer to West Point Military Academy, so that's why I joined the crew team, and that's why I involved myself in certain activities, I guess. But after I got disqualified because of my asthma, and I tried to repeal twice, but long story short, like the government pretty much said, you're screwed. So from there I was able to rush DSP. I was the Upsilon Pledge class president. I got it because I rapped. And I guess I took my high school experience of leadership as well. I was the ASB vice president and community liaison in high school.
Oh, Ching Chong Ling Long Ting Tong. The problem is,
Common stereotypes that I hear a lot are like good grades, and like where we tend to be more like nerdy indoor types, which I can see.
So I guess the negative stereotypes of Asians are, I don't know, bad drivers, people who are always picked last on sports teams or whatever. They eat weird food, they have no life, they just study all the time. Whenever I get attacked for that stereotype, I always say like, oh, I can Tokyo drift. So like, there are movies where Japanese people, for Fast and the Furious, like, all the people that were drifting were Asian, they're Japanese. So I don't know, there's always like breaking of stereotypes. Some stereotypes are true. but it's not true for all people of that race. So just because you see one smart Asian person doesn't mean like every Asian.
I guess, like, if people think that Asians like only do well grade-wise and don't really participate in other types of activities, that's not necessarily true. At least among a lot of my friends back in high school, who maybe were Asian but really did participate in whether it was sports or leadership or the arts. That's actually quite common. Like in my own major, architecture, you would think maybe it's not as common because parents don't think that is not as stable as like engineering, which is really, really popular. But there are quite a few Asians and like we do really well also, and it's just a creative sort of field.
The ocean meets the sky.
If the reason why Asian people don't attain top executive roles because they're Asian, then that's wrong. Like, I think that's wrong. You should judge a person based on their character, their hard work ethic, their values, their ability to lead, and their competence in the field. It really doesn't matter what color you are. My response to that is that people don't like change and adaptability. But I mean, maybe the Asian people actually aren't competent, and so it would be wise for them not to hire them. But if they were competent and the reason why they're not hiring them is because of their race, then that's not fair.
They assume that maybe because our personalities tend to be more like timid or like maybe we're more quiet, but it doesn't mean that Asians don't have the ability to be leaders. And yeah, I would try to prove them wrong in that case. I think it does have a lot to do with our culture, even in America, because there's still such a greater amount of like people who are white and more accepting of being led by somebody who is also white. You have to actually see what they are like, and if it happens to be that way, that like maybe they do fit this certain like stereotypes, then I mean there is somebody who's better for the job. But you can't have like a preconception.
It's full of hate is all he received. But one day in his preteen years, he took one hard look in the mirror and he saw things clearer, and he got over his fears because he knew that the time of reckoning was near.
It has a lot to do with like certain values that parents do expect like their kids to get good grades because it's really important in Asian cultures, and so if you have to study a lot to meet your parents' expectations, you tend to focus on that a lot more. So I think the way that the Asian community looks at achievements that I guess kids have, whether it's in sports or leadership, like they can't be downplayed in comparison to grades.
A lot of people have told me that I don't fit the Asian stereotype, which is good because I think judging is bad, and everyone has the ability to break stereotypes, and that's ultimately what I want to try to do.
People just have to believe that they can and not like be stopped by like certain stereotypes.